Former New Jersey Governor Christie filed paperwork Tuesday to run for president as he looks to take on former President Trump for a second time in 2024. Christie is the latest Republican to enter the burgeoning 2024 Republican primary field. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and Senator Tim Scott announced bids to knock Trump off his perch for the GOP presidential nomination last month, and former UN ambassador to the U.S. Nikki Haley, former Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson, and entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy launched their campaigns earlier this year. Former Vice President Mike Pence is expected to formally announce a bid Wednesday, in addition to North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum. New Hampshire Governor Chris Sununu announced this week that he's declining a run at the White House. Smart man. Christie ran for the Republican presidential nomination in 2016, ending his campaign following a disappointing showing in the New Hampshire primary in February. He placed sixth in the early primary state. During an interview with Fox News' Brian Kilmeade in March, he said he'd make a decision on a potential White House bid within 60 days. Christie will have one key advantage that the other contenders will not. He has run against Trump before. He has also worked with the former president's 2020 to aid with debate prep, meaning he'll have more insight into Trump's weaknesses and strengths on the debate stage. The former New Jersey governor has been comfortable taking aim at Trump directly and frequently. The presumptive GOP White House field has largely avoided going after the former president, though the upcoming debates could likely change that dynamic. The first GOP presidential debate will take place in August in Milwaukee. Meanwhile, President Biden officially announced he's running for re-election. Two Democrats have launched long shot bids to unseat Biden, progressive Marianne Williamson and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. So, I just want to point out before we get into the actual story, there goes the hill with those grammatical errors again. They write, he has also worked with the former president 2020 to aid with debate prep. They should have had 2020, the former president's 2020 campaign, presidential campaign, whatever. They should have put that in there to, because it says former president 2020. So, more errors from them. I think Christie is, out of anyone that's announced, the one I'm most interested in actually seeing how they campaign, because I don't believe he's jumping in because he thinks he's got this shot, and if he just goes out there and shows people who he is, then we'll all fall in love with him and want him to. I don't buy that at all. I think what this is he's like the equivalent of a woman scorned, because for those who don't remember, Christie was someone that was on Trump's running mate list, and then after that was considered for a cabinet position, but there were some issues between Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and Christie like prosecuting Kushner's dad back in New Jersey, literally over 10 years before the election. So there was some stuff behind the scenes that got in the way of Christie being as close to Trump as he would have liked, and then after being slighted in that way, he sort of became this commentator that, rebels against him in his own little manners. So I don't think this campaign is one that's actually with the intention of winning. I really don't. But one of the reasons that's something that makes me look forward to it is because now, if we're going off the premise of Christie wants revenge against Trump, he wants to stop him from getting a nomination. This is something that was floated by Bolton as well, the former U.S. National Security Advisor. He was saying he was thinking of running, and he, I guess, is not going to, just for the purpose of stopping Trump from being the nominee. But I think if Christie gets in this race and criticizes Trump over the many things that we've talked about before, he was the only person who out of any of these candidates has lost to Biden in the past. We can go down the list, but I think if he really critiques him and kind of does the dirty work for these other candidates, he can knock off some points for Trump. I don't know if he can distribute, because this is what we were talking about before. So they say Christie ran against Trump 2016. They're trying to make this 2016 2.0, where a bunch of candidates get in this race and they stay in too damn long, so all the votes get splintered between 2% for Haley and 1% for Ramaswamy and 1% for Hutchinson. All these different people just get a little tiny percentage that they all mix around each other, and then Trump's extremely loyal group catapults him to victory. What I hope happens is that during these debates that are going to take place before Iowa, so up until like February of next year, I hope for that 5-6 month period, we see Christie laying into Trump, talking about how he's going to lead them to destruction, and any critiques over his record as well, though I'd imagine he's probably going to avoid that because none of the Republicans ever disagree with each other on damn near anything. So I'm hoping this is a campaign that's more about blocking than it is about winning. The only regret I have is that, because I said before, Trump is a symptom of a larger problem. So even if Christie being involved is able to block Trump from winning, who does that leave us with? DeSantis? I mean, that's the biggest problem for me, like, of why I'm not that cheery about it. But like I said, I'm open to seeing him get involved, because I'd like to see more personalities in this race. Like, yeah, there's a lot of people in it already, but they're all basically saying the same thing and refusing to do the same couple of things. They just won't criticize Trump at all, and I think that hurts the electoral process, where everybody wants to be the leader of the free world, but they can't even exercise their free speech to criticize their own opponents.